body of benchers admit amnesty delegates as solicitors. 15 student delegates emerge newest first-class honor graduates. 105 others conclude advanced agro-business training at Songhai Farms in Port Harcourt, plus tidbits and more. Hello, it's good to have you join me on this episode of the program. I am Stella Inameti. In the last 3 weeks, Reintegration 30,000 has attempted to tell the Niger Delta story from the viewpoint of the Presidential Amnesty Program, using the narratives of delegates, stakeholders from the region, as well as administrators of the Amnesty Program. If you're just joining us for the first time, well, there is still plenty in stock, as we will be bringing you our regular segments, plus fact file and tidbits. Let me inform our new viewer that Reintegration 30,000 centers on the activities of the Presidential Amnesty Program and how it is gradually transforming lives in the region. Talking about changing lives, let's move on to our first segment, A Changed Story. Our changed story for this episode is someone who was directly involved in the Niger Delta armed struggle. His story is interesting and quite profound in the lessons put forward. Though his story is probably like that of many in the region, the uniqueness lies in how he has successfully applied himself to using the Amnesty Program as a springboard to change his life.
My name na Kidabawe Helbondo at Mepre Good Friday. I be once a militant in the Niger Delta Creek. We carry arms, we did a lot of things, we do so many things. We do pipeline bombing, different kind of things, until the federal government see that if not so the thing they go well with them. Okay, early 2009, they now said, make we give these people amnesty. After dropping our arms, they say we cannot just drop our arms and stay back at home. If we drop our arms out, then we stay for house, it means that the whole problem will come back again. So the federal government took it upon themselves and they can carry us go one place where they call Bubra for Calabar River State, that side. We are not even know before. You know, so all our life in a creek we live our life. All we know is water, inside Angala, all those things. Then we know companies, you know, those are places we do our normal dealings. Then they say we need to go Bubra, go know waiting be non-violence. Our person go fit take use your own mouth, take express yourself, then the whole world will now listen to the person without the person carrying gun. They gonna call us a training day. For the first I can't say which kind of training. They say na wedding, and I don't know what in the wedding. I want to take on start. They say you don't get anything where you learn for life where you say you know sabi. They go where with the suit, we not learn them. We just one day sleep, wake up, now we go. But the person who come meet for here, a person of Evangelist Samson Fetimi, who is the MD of Glasfa Continental Limited. When we come meet him, he give us plenty advice to make sure we not go back to the creek. Then after the advice, he has his instructors. They now take us to the class. Then from the class, they can teach us waiting the wedding. First, waiting the wedding, we see and koro for book, for television. They carry big television come. So say this now the way where they say they do wedding. Then after that one, before they can carry us come, the boots here you are seeing here. Now here I do my training. And when I train, we started from 1G, from padding. We started from padding to 1Z, 1Z, 2Z, 3Z, just like that, overhead, till we went to pipe welding. For a duration of almost a year and 2 months, if I'm not mistaken. Luckily, when I come here, a lot of us who came, we do better for this place. If not for this amnesty training of people in various areas, most especially the welding, the whole thing when they do, carry people go Bubura, carry people come up for camp before being in vain. Now the welding, especially the welding aspect of it, a lot of us here are now in different, they better position for companies. They work. After when all of us finish with graduate here, me, because of, I'm not saying it's because I sabi do, but by the special grace of God, now God do am. He himself on his own, he employed me to be a storekeeper. Yeah, as a welder, I'm keeping the store. At the same time, I am here. Those new people they brought from companies to come and train here, and they help them. They show them, say this now how you go take do am. Amnesty, it don't change many of us. It don't change many of us. If this our government is ready to follow that change, things go better for Niger Delta. I must assure you.
Friday's passion and determination to succeed in life derives from the infusion of hope, which is one of the cardinal objectives of the Presidential Amnesty Program for delegates. By helping the youth of the region to rediscover themselves positively, the Amnesty Program is invariably helping to build a new generation of young Nigerians who believe in themselves and the ability to deploy inherent skills for national development. This week, we want to look at some opportunities in welding and fabrication and how the Presidential Amnesty Program is helping delegates develop expertise in their area. Our segment, Insight, is next. The drive by the Presidential Amnesty Program to grow technical skills within Nigeria's service sector derives from the need to grow small and medium-scale enterprises. It is a fact that these enterprises are the engine of economic growth and are fundamental indices in the micro and macro economy. For many reasons, welding and fabrication is at the core of the entrepreneurship training group under the Presidential Amnesty Program. Apparently, welding has some bearing on growth springing from building, construction, and infrastructural development.
Welding and fabrication is even the bedrock of engineering. Anywhere you go, there must be a welding joint. In your classroom, even in your kitchen, your utensils, your pots, your kettles, they have joints. They have joints, either temporary or permanent welding. So there's nowhere in this world, even in the early stages, during the early men period, they did it. They were using this rigorous way of welding. When they bring our people here, they call it the Ojogu method of welding. They will bring up a piece of metal and they will heat it to a certain temperature, then heat with maybe hammer. So welding has been right in the time of the early men.
Its relevance is relative to what a society requires for rapid and sustainable growth. And as far as the Niger Delta is concerned, as indeed Nigeria at large, welding and fabrication is key in the scheme of things. This is because Nigeria is on the path of growth and is currently encouraging the active participation of small and medium enterprises. This has compelled the continued patronage of welding training centers by the Presidential Amnesty Office. The training in welding and fabrication has become a veritable platform to absorb delegates currently engaged in post-training and reintegration component of the Amnesty program. Part of what the Amnesty Office has done is its insistence on domesticating all trainings on welding and fabrication. This move has not only helped the office to cut costs, but has broadened competition among training centers in Nigeria, ensuring that only highly qualified facilities are used for deployment of delegates. The scope of training is also vast. It involves mentorship on life and communication skills, computer literacy and application, and of course, the actual rudiments of welding.
What we do for our welders here on training, we try as much as possible to put them together on the same, those who want to do welding, we try and teach them to some extent of fitting job and also teach them the welding. So I think basically most of them that were trained here are one of the best in this amnesty program all over the world. Some of our delegates that went to Dubai and they came out the best. They went for competitions. Some of them work in Mobiles and Shell and Chevron, and they came out very well. So the training here is something that I think is less cost. Is very less. The cost here is very, very, very efficient, and compared to people who are going abroad. And we also issues international welding certification that can make you work around the whole world.
Delegates are exposed to advanced welding and fabrication techniques comparable to what is obtained in more developed climes. As with most trainings under the program, delegates in this field are empowered with starter packs comprising trade tools used for welding and fabrication. It is still Reintegration 30,000 and time now for our guest platform, Talking Point. I have joining me an activist, past president of several Niger Delta groups, including the prominent Ijaw Youth Council, IYC. He is also a former local government council chairman and currently very active in the civil society. Dr. Chris Ekio, welcome to Reintegration 30,000.
Yeah, thank you, Stella, for making me your guest this very day. It's my pleasure.
I am sure you would like to give a background to some of what possibly compelled the Niger Delta struggle and how it was important for the Presidential Amnesty Program to emerge.
Yeah, the Presidential Amnesty Program is one that has been largely misunderstood by even the presidency itself because it's first of its kind. It's a Nigerian brand. The DDR that we adopted under the past administration was purely a Nigerian brand, no funding from any donor agency. So the government needs to keep funding it, and therefore it is highly misunderstood by those who are not in the mainstream. It is sometimes seen as a corrupt program, sometimes seen as just a handout program, but all those are far from it. The truth is that it is a core security program, a program that has helped to salvage the economy of our country from when it was started till now. The backlash of the conflicts on the pipelines between the militants and the military has been tamed to 85%. From that time till now, the life lost between communities, militants, and the military, it's barely near zero. It's near zero, as opposed to every day 6 people have died, 10 persons have died, 5,000 people have been displaced, communities have been razed down. It's near zero. It's skeletal here and there, conflicts, which is akin to the reflection of our current economy. Now, going from then to this time, definitely, oil production has been stable. And you agree with me that our country majorly depends about 97% on oil for its foreign earning. So that program has been able to create for Nigeria a sustainable bedrock for economic advancement. In this recession, where even crude fell to less than 50 per barrel, imagine where we had no production, or we had less than 700 barrels as it were in 2009, would have been worse than Zimbabwe.
Do you think much has been achieved by the amnesty program as a conflict resolution tool and a purveyor for human capital development in the Niger Delta?
When I say the amnesty program is misunderstood, the government of today and the government of yesterday begin to think that once amnesty has been granted and there's no conflict, we have solved the problem. Now that's the mistake. It's a time bomb that can explode anytime, because the problem is we are now building capacities of young people who now understand more of their civil rights, who are now more educated, who are now more clear with the fact that what they were doing yesterday was right, just that they may have done it the wrong way, so they can now devise a better way to do it. And then because we have elevated 30,000 people to this level, the rest 15 to 14 million young people in the Niger Delta have questions to ask. Are we saying that because we did not take up arms, we should also be abandoned? So government must speed up the infrastructure development of the region and industrialize the region enough with oil and gas sector, so that these other set of people that government cannot provide for can actually provide for themselves.
You have often alluded to persistent challenges in the Niger Delta. What are the issues you consider critical, and how do they affect the implementation of the amnesty program?
The crux of the matter is that the amnesty program in itself is not an end. It is just a means to an end. The end will be when true federalism is now being implemented, where oil that are found in communities have an equity in it and take a part of owners and are able to design and define what happens to their own equity in terms of developing their communities. States have equity in it, and the federal government have equity in it. This kind of equity will allow such that the federal government is not a big brother Africa that gives handout to states and local governments. No, it sits down with states and says, okay, you have produced this quantum of oil in your state, your equity is this percentage, so you manage that to deal with issues. Not this 13% derivation that is determined by FAC, and that's a constitutional provision, minimal derivation on anything found anywhere. So it's applicable to all the 36 states. We're talking about specific agenda to deliberately develop the region where the oil is coming from to be at par with other parts of the climate in the world where oil is produced. If you go to Aberdeen, you go to Texas, you go to anywhere you find oil, you just imagine, go to Hague, you imagine that there's massive infrastructure development.
Dr. Akio, we have limited time for this segment. We hope to bring you back maybe in our next episode to conclude this discourse. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Dr. Chris Akio has been talking about critical issues in the Niger Delta and the impact of the Presidential Amnesty Program from his own point of view. He is an activist and social commentator. Time now for PAP in a recap. Five amnesty program delegates have been admitted by the body of benchers to the Nigerian bar as solicitors and advocates. They are part of 1,468 newly admitted lawyers recently inducted at a ceremony at the International Conference Center, Abuja. The amnesty delegates, now solicitors, form part of an increasing number of trained and qualified experts emerging as core professionals, courtesy of the education scholarship component of the amnesty program. Meanwhile, the management staff of the office have also formally received the new lawyers at the Presidential Amnesty Office. 45 student delegates of the Presidential Amnesty Program have graduated from 2 universities in Belarus, with 3 of them clinching first-class honors in information technology from the Belarusian State University of Informatics and Radio Electronics, while a total of 29 majored in various fields from the Belarusian State University of Informatics and Radio Electronics, 16 others trained in related areas at Brest State University, Belarus. Meanwhile, the Presidential Amnesty Program has continued to record major milestones in its educational empowerment program at the Benson Idahosa University, Benin City, Edo State. 12 Amnesty Program delegates bagged first class in various degree courses and were celebrated during the 13th convocation ceremony of the university. 20 others graduated with second-class upper division and 29 with second-class lower division. While 4 of the first-class student delegates emerged the best graduating students at the convocation, a total of 59 Amnesty delegates graduated in different fields at the 13th convocation. In a similar development, a total of 105 delegates have become the newest Amnesty beneficiaries to successfully conclude a training course in advanced farming methods. The delegates concluded a month-long training at the popular integrated Songhai farms in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. They were exposed to contemporary techniques in cropping and animal husbandry with emphasis on recycling and exploring the value chain of specified crops. And finally, in sports, 66 ex-agitators, including some selected youths from crisis-impacted communities in the Niger Delta, have been offered scholarships to study sports management fundamentals at the Johan Cruyff Institute of Barcelona. Speaking at a press conference organized by Siawan Sports Academy at the Uyo Township Stadium, facilitator of the program in Africa, Alhaji Farouk Yabo, who also is the chief executive of an NGO, To Be Connected Nigeria, said the course contents being delivered in Africa for the first time was put together by the University of Amsterdam, stating that the program will blend academic with sports education. The 4 months intensive sports management course has already commenced with the first batch of 36 participants out of the first successful 66 selected from Siawan Sports Academy camp in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Well, we have come to the end of another episode of the program. Reintegration 30,000 will come your way same time next week. Like I say all the time, please do remember to visit our social media platforms where you can make your comments and contributions. Also remember this, Amnesty works. I am Stella Inameti.